Hey guys, what's up? Zyflet here, and I'm a little bit upset. Before we move on with this video though, if I sound sick, it's because I am. It's my birthday, and I just, got positive tested for the virus. We all know what I'm talking about, so that's why I sound bad. But I'm a little bit upset, and the reason that I'm a little bit upset is because DE keep on doing this thing where they release a Warframe in a pretty lackluster state, right? Not every single new Warframe release that, they've put out is bad necessarily, right? Like, I was a fan of Caliban. Some people could say that Grendel was okay. But, in the case of Yareli, a lot of people agreed that she wasn't the best frame whenever she came out. And, they were quite disappointed with her, right? Of course, her theme is cool. People are into the anime poses and stuff like that. It's not personally for me, but some people enjoyed that. But her kit was just kind of underwhelming, right? So a lot of people have put in a lot of work and effort into making Reddit posts, Warframe forum posts, videos, etc., talking about how we could potentially buff Yareli and make her better. And then DE turn around and they release an augment like Surging Blades in this case, right? So Surging Blades is an augment which is pretty good, right? This takes Yareli's third ability from being an ability which is pretty meh to an ability that is pretty good, and you could take it into level cap content, right? Not saying that the third ability was terrible. You could still make pretty good use of it prior to this augment coming out, but this here augment takes it to the next level. So basically, this was an idea that DE had to some capacity that instead of baking it into the kit of Yareli, they decided to turn it into an augment to release it later on, right? And that kind of annoys me because, we keep on getting these underwhelming, quote-unquote, frame releases, and then their abilities are band-aid fixed with these types of augments, right? Now, let me just explain what the augment does. So, essentially what this augment does is it stacks up damage when you have the third ability active and allows you to throw out a glaive of an aqua blade, right? That is going to force slash on an enemy, right? So we just go ahead, we tap free. You can see that as I walk around the enemies here, it's just stacking up damage up in the top right hand corner, right? And this scales pretty much infinitely, and it doesn't fall off until your ability runs out of duration, right? So this is prompting you to build for duration and of course not fall off the map or anything like that. I have a lot of strength on this build as well, so the enemies that I'm walking around, they are going to die, but the more I hit these enemies, the more damage is going to be built up. So whenever I throw my aqua glaive, eventually it is more or less going to one-shot the enemies around me, right? So let's just let them all die real fast. Of course, this is even crazier if you have some type of way of gripping the enemies up, like for example using an operator arcane, or if someone in your squad is running a a gripping ability, or even if you have a gripping ability subsumed on, but I'm using Roar in this case. But let's just go ahead and spawn in these enemies here, and if we tap free now without walking up to them, look at the slash damage. Now this makes Yareli an infinitely better frame than she was, right? And you can of course buff that up with the likes of Roar. On top of that, if you're on your hoverboard thing, this doesn't cost any energy, so you can just spam this for the duration of your free, and just more or less, if you build it up high enough, one shot all the enemies, right? Of course, it requires you to have a way of consistently building up the damage of the free, but that's really simple in Warframe, right? There's arcanes that you can use for gripping. There are, of course, other Warframe abilities that you can use for gripping. You can get a teammate to grip them up, stuff like that. So what I want to talk about in today's video is why isn't this just baked into Yareli's kit? Why couldn't this come out as a buff for Yareli instead of an augment, right? Is it because we need to brand it as a content release so people don't get upset? Because I think I would be happier if that was baked into Yareli's kit rather than being released as an augment, right? Now, there may be some type of technical reason for why this isn't involved in her kit in her current state, right? But we have got frame reworks in the past where they have added different quirks to abilities and stuff like that to make a Warframe better, right? So I don't see why they couldn't just bake this into Yareli's kit. Maybe it's a little bit more work to do that, but like, I don't know. I'm just kind of like, why is this not just in the ability, right? The frame is already underwhelming, and sort of like releasing this augment, making it so we have to run this in our modding section is kind of like, Of course, this isn't a build that I recommend you copy, right? There's no survivability in this build. You'd have to replace something like, let's say, for example, Augur Secrets to run a build and, you know, sustain yourself, keep yourself alive, that there type of thing. And maybe run, I don't know, Equilibrium or something like that for more energy sustain. It just depends on the player, right? But this is just for demonstration's sake, this type of build that I'm running. So, I don't know, man. Like, I think Surging Blades should just be built into Yareli's kit instead of an augment. Like, I'm happy that we finally have something that is making Yareli more viable as a frame, right? Like, someone that you can run, like, you can actually one-shot high-level enemies with Yareli now. But at the same time, they've kind of just buffed up the ability. Remember, you can take that third ability and put it onto another Warframe, so it still makes the frame kind of like, You could just take Aqua Blades and then put it on another frame and have like some other crazier effect, right? You could take this over freaking, what's it called? Rhino's first ability, right? Have the roar already baked in, you know? Have the iron skin on top of that and just be a tank that walks through with these Surging Blades and one-shot everything as Rhino, you know, add the damage buff. So, man, I don't know. Like, I really like this augment, but I just wish DE had have baked it in to the kit of the frame, because like it's basically just a built-in like Glaive Prime, more or less, and it just makes the frame so much better. I don't know, dude. We run around, fill up that damage, jump onto our frame here, or our hoverboard. I just start spamming the free, and the enemies die. You guys should go and check out As Invasion's video on this whenever he showed it off in the test cluster, because he actually had the operator arcane used to grip them up, and the damage numbers that you're able to hit are insane. Of course, I don't really care for hitting billions of damage, because that's just not the type of game that Warframe is. There's no real reason to go for content which requires you to deal billions of damage, but it is totally possible with this augment. So I just wanted to say in this video that this is something that DE should really stop doing. You know, like this whole Band-Aid fix with augment type thing. They should just take like the really good ideas that they have for augments, right? And then put them onto underwhelming frames if the frame is already underwhelming. If the frame is already pretty decent, so let's say, for example, Gara, and you have an idea for an augment, yeah, turn it into an augment. But for a frame like Yareli, Grendel, Anaros, etc., you should just take those effects that you're going to put into augments and then bake them into the frame, you know? So let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. It just personally drives me crazy seeing this type of thing. Like, again, it's great that we get the augment. I'm not complaining at all, but I just wish it was baked into the frame. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe for more Warframe content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.